Hello and welcome to this Outdoor Challenge Award podcast on how to pack for an expedition. When going on your Outdoor Challenge Award expedition, you need to make sure you pack all of the items that we are talking about today. When we're packing, we can pack in 4 stages. The first thing to think about is first line. What are we going to wear on our bodies? Second is second line, what we are going to pack into our day sack. And third line, what we are going to overnight with. What are we going to pack into a holdall in order to take that into the tent and spend an overnight in our tents. And fourth, we are going to also pack for emergencies, and we are going to pack an emergency set of dry clothes. So the first thing we need to think about is what we are going to wear on the day. Let's start from the feet upwards. So the first thing you need to do is to pack or wear a nice warm pair of socks. These socks are loop knit and therefore will prevent blisters. Nice and warm, nice and comfortable, especially for the longer expeditions where we are walking over longer distances, especially the Year 7s going over the Brecon Beacons. Very useful. Over the top of the socks, you need to think about wearing a pair of lightweight walking boots. These are very lightweight, really easy to dry, comfortable, but enough protection on the ankle in case it rolls. No need to go out and buy a brand new pair of walking boots. The other option, if you don't have walking boots, is to think about wearing a pair of approach shoes, so a really sturdy pair of trainers with a really good grippy sole, laces that can be done up tight, and nice and thick and waterproof ideally as well. If you don't have any of those, then a really good pair of sturdy trainers will be fine for the Years 3, 4, 5 and 6 expeditions as well. However, a really lightweight pair of trainers is not going to be good enough, I'm afraid. Next, once you have got your socks and your shoes, you need to think about the rest of your underwear. So we're just going to wear a nice lightweight pair of pants that dry quite quickly. On our tops, we are going to wear a thin t-shirt, again nice and thin, and therefore it's going to dry really quickly if it gets wet. This is my red wicking top, and actually, as you can see, it looks very, very similar to the house tops, and so a house top which is named already is absolutely ideal. Next, moving down our body, you need to wear a pair of trousers. These trousers here are lightweight, means they dry really quickly when they get wet, because they probably will, and the added advantage to these trousers is that they can be unzipped at the leg in order to turn into a pair of shorts. And then over the top of your t-shirt, you need to think about a thin fleece, just a thin packing, think a thin micro fleece that will pack down nice and small if they are not going to wear it, if you're not going to be wearing it all the time. Optional is a watch. Don't wear expensive iWatches because they will break, they'll run out of battery. Actually, a cheap £5 Casio watch is perfect for telling the time, and that's all that you will need for this expedition. Now we're going to talk about second line, what we're going to pack into our day sack. The day sack will be taken round with the children, with you guys, everywhere you go during the day. So it needs to be big enough to put all your items in, it needs to be lightweight, and it needs to be sturdy as well. This is a 40-litre bag, that's pretty big. You won't need anything anywhere near as that big, so 20 or 30 litres will absolutely be fine. But make sure it's got 2 good straps so that you can wear it comfortably over both shoulders, and you can adjust these straps in order that it is comfortable throughout the day and safe to be walking over difficult terrain. So items that you need to put into this day sack are as follows. So the first thing we think about is warmer's kit. What happens if it gets cold? We need to stop for any reason. You need to put some warm clothes on. So I've got here a synthetic filled jacket. It's lightweight, but it's nice and padded. It's not down. The advantage of wearing something synthetic is if it gets wet, it still stays nice and warm. You pack your children off with a down jacket, means when they get wet, they lose all their thermal properties. So something synthetic that you can squish down. Now, because we want to keep this dry, then we need to put it into a dry bag. So you can either buy one of these dry bags, they're really cheap from any outdoor shop, or just a sandwich bag, a plastic bag designed for sandwiches with a Ziploc on is equally good. So we need to shove that into our day sack. First of all, we need to put it into our dry bag, as so. Make sure we squash it right down, and that's going to go in the bottom of our day sack. Next, more warm clothes, just in case we have to stop in an emergency. You need to make sure you have got a warm pair of gloves, and even more importantly, we lose about a third of our body heat from our head, so we need a little hat, a little beanie on in order to keep our head warm, stop us losing too much heat. I tend to pack that in the same bag as the warmer's top, so that can go in there, and then that can get shoved down. Squeeze all the air out of it, and then fold it over. Should be at least 4 times, which therefore stops it getting damp, any water getting in. That package, which in summer hopefully we won't even use, will go down to the bottom of my day sack like so. Next, need to think about some waterproof clothing. These will get used, but actually it's probably not going to be very cold, but it is likely to rain, so we need to think about some really lightweight waterproof clothes. We need to think about a lightweight waterproof coat. As you can see, there's hardly anything to this, very thin Gore-Tex. This one's got taped seams, and it is worth spending a little bit of money on a good coat and a good pair of walking boots. That's the only thing you really need to spend any decent money on. This, as you can see, squashes down to absolutely nothing, and that too can go into my day sack. Dry trousers, again, lightweight dry trousers, nothing to these. You can pick these up really cheap, don't spend any money on them. You can buy them for a £5 in a place like Go Outdoors. They can fold up and they can be shoved into the bottom of your day sack as well, like so. Next thing we need to think about is water. You need a really simple water bottle. This one's great because it doesn't have any straws or any complicated openings. It is simply a screw cap, nice big hole, really sturdy bottle. It's not going to break and fill our day sack full of water. You need to make sure it's at least 750 millilitres. A litre bottle, definitely good to have. That can also go in our day sack. Next, lunch. Just to keep your lunch separate from all of your clothes, I just take another little dry bag, but a sturdy bag will be absolutely fine to put your sandwiches and your food for the day. Make sure it's not a big lunch box which is going to take up half the space in your day sack, so just a bag like this is absolutely perfect. In fact, this one's pretty old, it's got a hole in this dry sack, so this is not going to work as a dry bag, so perfect for sandwiches. So I put my sandwiches in there and they go in my bag as well. Other things to think about is hopefully it's going to be really nice weather, so you need to make sure you've got some sort of sun hat, keep the rays off. I just put this in the top flap of my day sack, and likewise hopefully we're going to need some sun cream. That can also go in the top flap of my bag. They're really important that we take those with us. Now, a few optional items. Feel free to bring a pair of sunglasses. Other things that you might want to consider bringing, if you have one, is a walking compass. Again, I tend to roll that up and put that in the top flap of my bag. And another great thing to bring with us is a whistle. In case of emergencies, great for attracting attention, and that can go in the top flap of my bag as well. So there's my day sack packed up. This one has an extra waterproof layer, but it's really not required as long as you waterproof up those clothes inside. And as you can see, pretty small, packs down, not really very big at all. Okay, and then that can be worn on my back all day, every day, ready for anything. Next stage is third line. This is the items that you are going to take with you into the tent. So these items largely are going to stay dry because they are inside the tent or inside the vehicles as we're moving from location to location. So what do you need to carry all this in? Ideally a big holdall like so that you can open up, lots of space, but also that when you've got everything out you can crush it down and so it doesn't take up any room inside your tent. In fact, it turns into a nice pillow. So what are you going to put in this overnight bag? First thing you need to think about is a roll mat. Two types of roll mats. These roll mats are sponge and are fantastic. You can also get blow up roll mats, very expensive thermarests, which are great until they go pop. And they are likely to go pop as well as you put them on the forest floor. So I am going to stress now that you make sure that you bring a sponge roll mat, not a blow up roll mat. And that goes into your overnight bag. Okay, next item on the list is a sleeping bag. You need a 2 or 3 season sleeping bag and it needs to have its own stuff sack. This one has also got some webbing spider straps to compact it down, but that's not necessary, just a stuff sack is fine. Now, it's really important that you know how to pack and unpack your sleeping bag. Just open the drawstring, open up the bag, and as you can see, the sleeping bag should just fall out, like so. Now, it's really important that you can then pack your sleeping bag yourselves, children, so I'll show you now how to pack your sleeping bag. Always start with the foot end first, and all we're going to do is put that over our shoulder, like so. We're then going to open up the stuff sack. If you have got these spider bands on, it's really important you make sure they are all fully open. Open the end of the stuff sack, starting with the foot end, and all we're going to do is we're going to shove it, stuff it, as the name suggests, into our stuff sack. When it gets to the top, just collect all of the sleeping bag up and continue to stuff it into the stuff sack. When it gets to the top, just do the drawstring cord back up, like so. If you've got these little webbing straps, you can put those back over at that stage and just squash it down a little bit more, like so. And there's your sleeping bag, nice and small. This goes into your overnight bag. Next thing is, if you would like, you can take a travel pillow with you. This one is just squashes down, and again it's got its own stuff sack to keep it nice and compact. If you don't need a pillow, you can just use your bag, but if you'd like to bring a pillow and you've got one, then that's fine. Next item you need to take with you is a bin bag. This one is actually not a bin bag, it's a big dry bag, but it'd be used in exactly the same way. So a couple of things we can do with that. If we've got any wet clothes, we can put those in there to stop our rest of our clothes getting wet, or we could even put it over the end of our sleeping bag, okay, to stop the end of our sleeping bag getting wet if it's raining a lot and our sleeping bag is touching the edge of the tent. So a couple of uses for a big black bin bag. Again, roll it up nice and small, shove it in our overnight bag. Next thing we need is a wash kit. Really simple little wash kit. You don't need many items at all. There won't be a chance to have a shower, okay, but it will be a chance to make sure we're washing and keeping ourselves hygienic in the field. So, a couple of things that you definitely need. Toothbrush, a little small toothpaste. I also carry some hand sanitizer with me as well, and a little tube of lip salve, especially if it's windy and sunny. They go in there. A couple of other things which are really useful for you at this stage. Kleenex, just in case you get caught short. And finally, some wet wipes to give yourself a clean off your face, your neck, and around your body if you need to give yourself a wash halfway through the expedition. As you can see, they fit nicely into a little bag. I've also got a little travel towel in here, and that folds down to next to nothing. It's one of these micro light towels which folds nice and small. So just a small towel is fine. Not a towel for a full shower, just for a hands and face wash. Packed away in its own wash kit. Next things to think about are a torch. You need to make sure that you have got a torch with you. A head torch is absolutely perfect because it means you've got two hands free to do anything you need to do. Brush your teeth, walk around the campsite, unpack or pack your bags. If you haven't got a head torch, that's fine. Just a little torch is fine, and you can actually just put it in your mouth for the time you need it. You also need some spare batteries or just a spare little head torch in case your batteries or your head torch run out. Next thing, obviously we're going to be eating on camp, and therefore to eat we need 3 items. We need a plate to put the food on, cup to drink out of, and a KFS, a knife, fork, spoon. You can either get one of these, which is a spork, which is your knife, fork and spoon all in one, or you can get a knife, fork, spoon which clip together quite nicely for your food. Those items need to go in your bag. We will take them away from the children as soon as they arrive on camp, and we will centrally hold them, although the children, you guys, will be washing these up. So that's all the items you need to sleep with or eat with. The next thing you need is a change of clothes in that bag. Now, just as we talked about earlier, we need exactly the same clothes that we're wearing, a secondary set of dry clothes that's going to stay dry and it's going to stay in our tent. So again, another loop knit pair of socks, a pair of lightweight trousers. Tracksuit bottoms are ideal for this situation because they're really light and dry quickly. Again, another pair of pants, clean pair of pants, nice thin pair. Again, another wicking t-shirt here, okay. Again, if you've got a secondary house top, absolutely perfect, but any cotton t-shirt would be fine. And again, another thin fleece. The only extra items that you need are another pair of socks, okay, so we can afford to have a second pair of socks, especially on the longer walking expeditions. Having clean socks on really makes you look after your feet, and we will be helping you to look after your feet during those expeditions. And finally, we need just a lightweight pair of trainers. These will be used for the mountain biking instead of your walking boots. They'll be used for certain parts of all of the expedition, so you need a lightweight pair of trainers in your bag as well. These may get wet for some of the water sports activities, so I can put them there. All of that then just needs to go into one bag. Doesn't necessarily need to be a dry bag, just a place to keep it all together. Shoes in the same place. Roll it up, and that's kept together in your overnight bag. So now I'm just going to give you a little tip on how to pack this bag. We often see children with roll mats and sleeping bags dangling off the bags, which just means they're going to get lost they might get broken, they might get wet as we're moving bags around. So it's much better to keep everything inside the bag. The roll mat can be the most annoying piece of kit to get in the bag, but if you roll it up like so, place it inside the bag and then unroll it in the bag, you can then place all of your items inside of the roll mat, and that works really nicely. So here I can put my sleeping bag in, I can put my dry clothes in their separate bag, put my wash kit, my pillow, my black bin liner and my torch, and then I can just roll that back up inside the bag, and that keeps everything together. Place my cup, my fork and my spoon and my plate, on top, and then we're all packed away. And as you can see, even for me, that's quite a lightweight bag, really nothing to that. Should be able to carry it around. Your children should be able to carry the bag and their day sack all on their own quite easily. Finally, the last thing you need to pack is some emergency dry clothes. Now, these dry clothes consist of exactly the same as you're wearing, exactly the same as your dry clothes in your overnight bag. One pair of loop knit socks, pair of pants, t-shirt, trousers and a thin fleece. All of these items need to be placed in just a plastic bag. Like so. Once they're in the plastic bag, you just need to do the plastic bag up, crumple the plastic bag up, make sure you've got all the air out, so it's small as you can. Take another plastic bag, turn the package upside down. Same again, tie it up, scrumple all the air out. Finally, one more time, third plastic bag, upside down. Do the bag up, scrumple all the air out. Next, just get some sellotape. So really make sure this package is not going to come undone. It's nice and waterproof. I'm just going to wrap some sellotape around it to keep it all together, stop it ripping. Like so. Finally, take a white piece of paper, write your name really clearly on the paper. Like so. And then you're just going to put that piece of paper onto the bag. And again, get your sellotape out. And you're going to cover the piece of paper and the bag again with copious amounts of sellotape to make sure that that stays on, like so. Okay, so there we have our emergency dry clothes. Now hopefully your children are not going to need this because they're going to be able to follow the procedures and use their dry clothes inside the tent, their wet clothes outside the tent, and this will just be kept for emergencies. And us as the staff will hold this in a tent and keep that nice and dry for them. Thank you for watching the Outdoor Challenge Award podcast. If you have any questions, please email me at b.pearson@westhillpark.com.